It's an African American spiritual, and it originated during the period of slavery, and it wasn't written down until 1867. So we've basically inherited it as various recorded versions, and it's amazing. If you go on Spotify, you can hear like loads of amazing artists have covered it, like Sam Cooke and Mahalia Jackson, and Paul Robeson. So yeah, it'd be great to listen to their versions, because I almost feel like I do love Tippett's version, but in a way it could potentially be a bit sterilised. Obviously, one of the big things that has happened during the lockdown is the killing of George Floyd, and then the Black Lives Matter protests that took place all over the world. And with both of these two pieces, I was kind of thinking about this. So my first discussion point is the Tippett appropriation? Is it cultural appropriation? As we were saying earlier, yeah, our problems, and kind of we've had difficult times during lockdown, but we had a tiny taste of a freedom taken away. It's probably 1,000th of the suffering of someone who actually was sold and used as a slave. So is it appropriate for us to sing this music? What does anyone think?
Very thorny topic.
I know.
Really not easy to talk about, but I think, especially in this setting, just it's not about saying the right things. It's just important to have the conversation and not be afraid. If you say nothing, it's worse.
It's not okay if you don't know something about it. So if you said, you know, where's this piece from? And we all went, oh, it's by Tippett, it's from a child of our time. That would be gross, basically.
Yeah.
We pretend to need them. 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 We pretend to educate the kids. We pretend to need them. We pretend to educate the kids. We pretend to need them, but we don't.
So the other piece that we've just sung is the Ted Hearne, which is called Privilege, the set of 5 pieces, and it's basically about white privilege, and about him being a man in America during a time where he clearly has a level of privilege above others, and so it's him trying to come to terms with that. And I think it's interesting for us as a group of majority white singers, and our audiences are majority white, I would say. I think that's probably a fair assessment at this current time. And also that we came out of Genesis 16, and if you think of the 16's music, majority white singers, majority white audience, majority white composers, I mean not even majority white, 100% white composers as far as I know in terms of the 16, and other kind of groups of their ilk. So we basically are singing music from this very white tradition. How do we approach this in the context of Black Lives Matter? How ridiculously undiverse our industry is.
It needs to be something that's led, by everyone in the sector to try and talk about what you get in a school.
Starting at the base level.
Systematic. Do we just teach the canon? How do we teach music history? Do we only talk about white people in English in music history? Probably not. We should try and look at all levels and say, if we can just do this and this and this, see how that works. Can we then expand again?
But it's been interesting watching the more famous groups respond to Black Lives Matter. And Eve Fagellini, for example, did a website page as part of their thing, which said, listen, you can read these articles and you can consider this. And I thought that was great, but I also felt if you're going to sing 100% or 99.9% music by dead white males, there is an inherent kind of European exceptionalism idea in there that the serious music is the music by dead white males. And I feel that in terms of being a person who programs, I feel that there's a sense that within the kind of industry or something that music that's not by dead white males is less serious.
My fear is tokenism, though. What I really am scared of doing is doing something as a reaction rather than being proactive. You see it sometimes with the female composer movement. Sometimes you look down the list and you almost kind of squirm when you see that there's one token, like, oh, there's a piece by Punafnik, we must be okay, and you're like,
do that for a little while, say like 5-10 years or something, you purposefully include things, then 10 years down the line, it's now the norm. So
Since the Black Lives Matter thing, this is just me being honest, I've been researching much more music by black composers, but it's like you're saying, a part of me thinks that it's so cringe that I am like, okay, who else is a black composer? And then I go and search their music. It feels, it's just like the female composer thing. It does feel uncomfortable, but maybe it's the only way.
Positive discrimination is a provenly effective tool into correcting.
It's the whole thing about having somebody, a sort of black person and white person, has like running a race, and the white person is given a head start. In order for the black person to catch up, they need to be given another. They need to be put on a car and taken up to where the other person is.
But I also think examining whiteness is part of it as well. For some reason, I do feel like there would be less of a problem if the more famous groups just acknowledged that they were like specialists in white music or something, or not white music, but European, specialists in a certain kind of European dead white male music. And in a way, if that was acknowledged, I feel that it's less problematic. It's when you don't talk about it at all that people then assume that is the best music, that's the most serious music, that is the pinnacle of is Bach.
You're the best group and that's the music you do.
Yeah.